Okay, then. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Hello, am I audible? Good evening, guys. Good evening. I hope all of you are doing well, everyone, because now we are almost on the second, not almost, yes, we are on the second last day of this course. And so far, we have covered a lot of things, right? We have covered all the basic programming fundamentals of JavaScript. We have covered, how to use arrays, how to use object yesterday. And today we'll be diving a lot more into array and objects, right, everyone? So I hope that all of you are excited. And please, everyone, don't forget to like the video. If you're enjoying all the sessions till now from the day one, please don't forget to like the video. Okay, and also tell your friends to come join if at all it is possible. But please don't forget to like the video. That is what motivates me and us as a team to come here and start do all these live sessions. So good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. And let's start with today's session. Today we'll be starting with DOM, guys. Today we will be starting with DOM. Okay, so first we'll talk about event handling. Then we'll talk about array of objects, or I think I'm planning to talk about array of object first, because yesterday we finished with array and objects. Then we'll talk about array of object first. Then I'll let you know the difference between let and var, because I think a lot of people are asking about that. And then we'll move on to event handling, and then eventually we'll move on to DOM. So that is the whole plan for today. Okay, and also functions. So first, let's go ahead, guys, and let's start with today's topic, which will be, so let me just, quickly open my folders. Let me see if my folders are open. No, as of now, let me just open quickly. So it is on desktop. Here we go. Okay, it's cool, guys. So guys, this is what we did yesterday. Okay, so yesterday we talked about what an array is. So guys, see, first of all, before we move ahead with anything, I want to talk about one very, very important thing. Okay, that will be very useful in our whole project, the Netflix project that we'll be making. Okay, so guys, see, yesterday the first thing that we talked about was arrays. Okay, and we saw that an array is nothing but a way of storing multiple similar kind of data in one variable, right? So basically, by storing it in one variable, it becomes easier for us to store that data, to share that data, and to access it using loops, right? If I store, let's say, 5 different data, 10 different data in 10 different variables, then it will be very tough for me, right? This is what we have understood yesterday. If I store my similar kind of data in different variables, then it will become tough for me to share and use them. But if I store it in an array format, it will be easier for me to access them using loops, so that I have to write the code only once. And also the storage becomes much more easier, and I can now share only one variable to anyone, and the whole data will go. So we saw that. Then after that, we talked about objects, which was nothing but whenever we feel we have some kind of data which is representing a single entity. So rather than storing it in a different variables, what we can do it, we can create an object out of it, so that all my data will be at one place, and it will be very easier for me to read. And I have my, naming convention will not be hampered, because I can create multiple objects and give same properties again and again. But because they are different objects, it will work, right, guys? So create object whenever you feel you have different kind of data, but it is representing the same thing. They are all collectively representing the same entity. So you can create an object for it. And after that, you can create multiple objects with the same properties. And go for an array if you feel you have multiple data of similar type, like a collection of same type of data. So you can store it in a single variable, right, guys? These are the two things. Okay. So guys, and yeah, guys, to start with the Netflix project, the first thing that we have to do is we have to understand this array of objects, because today we'll be also preparing the data that we'll be using for the Netflix project. So we'll be preparing the data for all the movies that we'll be displaying on our Netflix project. Is that clear, guys, everyone? That's why it's very important. Okay, guys, everyone, let's start, guys. So now, guys, see, okay, let me create a new file today, because I want to show you something very important. And guys, for today, I'll be using internal JavaScript. Why I'm just switching like this? Sometimes I'm going with internal JavaScript, sometimes I'm going with external JavaScript, so that we don't forget that there are two types and we can use any one out of it. Okay, that's why I'm just mixing things together like that. So let's call it as day4.html. Okay, and I don't need a separate JS file, because right now I've decided that I will just write my code in it. So let's go create an HTML file, and let's call it as day4, something like that. And guys, we know, right, if you want to write internal JavaScript at the end of your body, just put a script tag, and now here I can write JS. Now let's run this file as well. So let's click on go live, and here we go. I have this page up and running. So it should be here. Let me just minimize this quickly. Yep, here we go. Okay, cool. So now we have our browser and VS Code. Okay, and also let me just open the console quickly. So inspect, and here we go with the console. And right now there's nothing, so all good. So here we go, all good. Okay, everyone. Okay, now then guys, let's move ahead, everyone. Now see, two things always remember, because I have seen a lot of people getting confused in when to create arrays and when to create objects. So guys, please don't forget, whenever you feel you are going to be handling data, multiple data, but of same type, like let's say multiple ages, multiple names, right? Multiple companies, multiple addresses. So similar kind of data, but in a lot, you have to create an array for it. And if you are representing a single entity, like for example, you're representing a human, so name, age, city. So these are different properties, but they are of a single entity. So in that case, you have to go for an object. Is that clear, everyone? So that is what it is. So now guys, let me give you a clear explanation. Let's say we are planning, guys, please focus, everyone. So let's say I want to store data of a movie. Okay. I want to store data of a movie. Okay. Now movie can have name, movie can have rating, movie can have a poster, and movie can have a description. So now guys, tell me, for a movie, what should I create? An array or an object? For a single movie, what should I create? An array or an object? Guys, it's a single movie. It has different properties. So guys, what should I go with? An array or an object? Come on, quickly tell me. Quickly, everyone. Should I go with an array or should I go with an object in this case? It's fairly simple. Let's see how many of you can answer. I'm waiting. I have created this variable. Now you tell me, what should I create here? So if I create an array, guys, that means that's the wrong thing, right? Right, everyone? Because I have a name, I have a rating, I have poster. These are different properties representing a single movie. So definitely it's going to be an object. Yes. So guys, that's how you have to think. So I'll go here and let's go and, let me just close it. So I'll put name. So let's say, something like Avengers Infinity War, something like that. Okay. And let's say something like rating, in which I can put, let's say number 8.7, something like that, guys. And let's say I'm calling as poster. In this, I'm going to be storing URL of the poster. So you can take any link. So let's go on the browser. Let's just search for, Avengers Infinity War poster, something like that. Okay. So let's go on images and let's just copy the link of any of the poster. So guys, what we're going to do is we'll just copy the link. See this? Copy image address. So I'm not downloading the image. It's possible we can download the image, but I'm not downloading the image. So I'll simply copy the image address. That's all. And now I'll just put it here, the link, and I can still use this link afterwards to display my image. So don't worry, guys. And then one more thing. So let's, take some basic description. So let's also write, have some description for this movie. So description. And we can just go on Google and again get some description about this movie. So just search for Avengers Infinity War and you'll easily get the description of the movie here. See? So simple plain description, something like this. Okay. Let me just take one line of it. That's all. So guys, this is a single movie data. Okay. This is a single movie data. So a single movie having name, rating, poster, description. Is that clear, everyone? Okay, so now guys, see, this here is a single movie. I have a data of a single movie. Now let's say I want to create multiple movies. Guys, I want to create multiple movies. So what I can do is I can create one more movie, like let's say movie 1. So new movie. So guys, this is object name. So I cannot use that same name again because these are two different variables. But yeah, inside the object, I can have same properties because they are two different objects. So I can again have the same properties. So I can have, again, let's say name. So let me put RRR. I think I got the recommendation from someone here. Let's say rating. I don't know the rating, but I think it's above 8 or 7 maybe. So let's search for that as well. Let's say RRR. And here we go. Good. So rating, I think it's around 7.8. So let me just put 7.8. 7.8. And let's say poster. For the poster, we can take the URL afterwards. And let's have some description as well. And I forgot, guys, here it should be a colon. Okay. So let's go now and, let's take an image from here. Oh, first of all, let's take a description. A fearless revolutionary, and okay, let's take this whole thing. It's kind of big, but that's fine for now. Okay, and let's take a poster. Okay, now guys, let's take this poster as well. So I'll just, copy the image address and let's go here and let's put the poster link as well. So now guys, I have two movies. Everyone, I have two movies. Don't worry guys, I'm cooking something here. So don't worry. I'll let you know what I'm doing. Okay, so guys, I have one object as movie in which I have stored four properties. So one movie is having four properties. It's a movie object representing one single movie. Then I have one more movie object representing another movie. Now guys, the problem here is if I want 10 movies, that means I need to create 10 movie objects. That means now I have multiple movies. Now it's again same like this, right? See, if I want to store 10 numbers, there are two ways. I can create 10 variables. A equals 1, then B equals 2, then C equals 8, something like that. So if I want to store 10 numbers, there are two ways. One way is I go ahead and create 10 variables. But I know the problem with that. Sharing, accessing will become problematic. And that's why what we do is we go ahead and create an array of numbers. Right, everyone? In which I can store all the data like 1, 2, 8. So now it will become much more easier for me to access. And if I want to print them, I can use a loop. So instead of doing this, we do this. Same guys we can do with the movies. If I can see that I am creating multiple movies and all of them are different objects. So the problem here will be now they are objects. But if I want to access all the movie names or all the movie ratings, I have to write it separately for this movie because the object name is different. I have to write it separately for this movie because again the object name is different. It's just like different variables. So guys, what I can do is I know that this is one movie, this is two movies. So I'm having multiple movies. And when I say multiple movies, that means it's multiple objects of same type, multiple elements of same type, or multiple data of same type. So why can't we just go ahead and rather than storing our objects separately, I can create an array. Now guys, in the array, I can store anything. Either I store numbers or I store strings like this, right? Or rather than doing this much, if needed, I can also store the whole object as one element. Why not? So I can go here and I can store the whole object as one element. So guys, this is my first element on 0th index. This whole object is my first element. And if I go ahead and store the second movie as my second element. So I will go here and here we go. Now this is my second element, which is so guys, the only difference is array can have numbers. Array can also store strings, and array can also store objects. And now I no longer need to mention different variables because now guys, I'm having an array inside which I'm having one element as one object and the second element is also an object. And now just like that, I can have n number of objects here guys. I can have n number of objects. And the best part now will be guys, if I want to access the first object, guys, see, we know that it's an object, but for the array, it's an element, right? Now tell me guys, that first object's index will be what? It is inside an array. So to access the first object, what will be the index guys? See guys, for us, it's an object, but for the array, it's an element. It can be a number, it can be a string, it can be an object. So if I want to access the first element, I know what I need to do, right? I just need to write down that array name, movies, and I know the first element is always on 0th index. And now if you see the first element, you'll see that it's the whole object. See that everyone? Description, name, poster, rating, it's the whole object. Exactly. So guys, what I'm trying to say here is it can be anything. Movies of 1 will be the second object or the second movie object. Like that, see? And the best part is guys, now if needed, I can also apply looping here. So for example, I can go for, let I equal 0. I is less than, let's say, movies dot length. So less than 2 because there are only 2 movies. So the last index will be 1. So less than 2 and I plus plus. And now just like that, I can go ahead and console.log movies of I. So basically I'll be printing both the movies. See that guys? See? First one, second one. So guys, that's the best part. So guys, this is what we call as array of objects. Array of objects, one of the very useful things. And guys, in future, you have to remember this because there's a language called as JSON, which is a data formatting language. That JSON data formatting language is very hugely inspired with this concept of array of objects in JavaScript. The full form of JSON is JavaScript Object Notation, something which looks like JavaScript objects. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, I hope you're understanding. See, guys, what I'm trying to say is, see, this is an array. I know it's a tough topic to understand at first, but don't worry, I'll explain you. See, this is the array. So guys, I can store multiple data, right? Like 12, 13, 45. So now guys, in this array, I have 3 elements. So what I'm trying to say is, this array can hold numbers. So guys, I have 3 numbers. I know this is on 0th index, this is on 1st index, this is on 2nd index. Just like that, if needed, I can also have a string, right? Saurabh, let's say Thor, Iron Man. So I can also have 3 strings. And just like that, guys, if needed, I can also have 3 objects. Why not? So this whole object becomes my first element. And this whole object becomes my second element. For the array has 2 elements. First element, second element. Fine, it's an object, but that's fine. It can be a number, it can be a string, it can be any kind of data. And now it's an object, guys. Is that clear, everyone? So I hope you're understanding. And now you can just apply a loop. So you can just print movies of I. So guys, if it is movies of 0, that means it is printing the first object. And if it is movies of 1, that means it is printing the second object. Is that clear, everyone? And now guys, one more thing. Now we know, right, how to access properties of an object, everyone. We know how to access properties. So if I know that this movies of 0 is giving me the first object, you'll see, it's giving me the first object. So guys, how do we access any property of the object? This is giving me the object. So once I get the object, dot any of its property, so I can access its name. Why not? Here we go. Avengers Infinity War. I can access its rating. Why not? Right? So first access the object. Now movies of 0 is giving me the first object. Then dot anything, whatever I want of this. Right? So I can simply go ahead and, let's say rating. Why not? And see, here we go. That's how simple it is. And if needed, you can also do it inside the loop. I can go here inside the loop, and this movies of I is going to give me the object one by one. First this object, then this object. So I can simply go ahead and do movies of I, which is going to give me an object at one time, dot, let's say name. So now it will loop and print both the objects' name. Avengers Infinity War and then RRR. So when I is 0, it prints movies of 0 dot name, which is this one. Movies of 0 means first object, first element, dot its name. Then movies of 1 means second object, dot its name. And I can do whatever I want, guys. Is that cleared, everyone? I hope you're understanding, guys. Hopefully. And now in this case, guys, your objects don't have a name. Your objects are directly there. But if you want, you can create them separately and then put it. It's also fine. You can create the object separately and then put it in the array. But that will be a long task, right? Don't forget, guys. How do you create an array, guys? How do you create an array? When you want to put 2 elements, you put a comma between them, right? 23, 45. Just like that. First object, first element, comma, the second element. Guys, the only difference here is this array looks small. That's why they are in one line. This data is big. That's why I'm writing it in multiple lines. But the concept is same. It is like this only. See, it is like this, right? If I convert it, it looks like this. So guys, does it matter? Same thing. It's just in multiple lines, but at the end, it's the same thing, right? 23, 45. It is a small data. That's why we can put it in one line. But this is a big data, right? That's why we use multiple lines so that it's much more easier and understandable. Okay. So guys, I hope it's cleared that you can create an array of object as well to store your data in a better format. And now the best part is you can loop it. And guys, for our Netflix project, we are going to be creating an array of objects only to generate all our movies. So I'll basically show you how those all movies are generated. So guys, no one is, going ahead and, writing HTML for all the elements. We are also going to loop this array of objects and display all our elements one by one. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that. Maybe not today, but by tomorrow. Today we'll learn the basics of DOM, and tomorrow I'll show you how to display all the movies. So guys, don't worry, but we are now getting there. We are preparing data for our, project. And right now we have two data. Don't worry guys, by tomorrow I'll add some more objects in this. I'll add maybe 10, 20 movies. Okay, I'll do it at home, don't worry. And I want you to do it as well. If you want to create the project with me, okay, if you want to create the project with me, I would suggest that you also just create an object of 10, 20 movies like that. Okay, and leave it. Then tomorrow I'll show you how to convert it into a design. How to convert this data into a design, I'll be showing that tomorrow to you once we have learned the basics of DOM today. Okay, cool then guys, our data is almost prepared. Now then, I hope you've understood how to use array of objects. Okay guys, everyone. So now then, let's move ahead to the next topic for today. And guys, don't worry, we are going to talk a little more about objects when we actually start using that. Don't worry. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you today first, so that you're not confused when I actually start using data. Okay, so now guys, let me comment it, and by tomorrow guys, I want you all to also just collect 10-20 movies and create an array of object like this. I will also sit at home tonight and I'll just collect 10-20 movies. Okay, cool then, let's move ahead guys. Let's move ahead to the next topic, which is again one of the most important topics. Okay, and guys, everyone who is new, so there is a link pinned in chat, click on that. You will get the whole documentation link where everything, whatever I'm doing here is mentioned already in a much more detailed manner. So if you are confused anywhere or something like that, you can check out the documentation as well. Okay. So guys, the next most important concept, and guys, just after this concept, we'll be moving on to DOM manipulation. Okay. So let's go everyone. Let's go. Let's first complete functions guys. So everyone, let's start. So what exactly is a function in programming in general or in JavaScript? So guys, see, listen to the definition first. As I always say, first basic definition, basic idea. A function is nothing but a set of code with a name. That's all. A function is nothing but a collection of code to which you give a name, a block of code to which you give a name, which doesn't get called automatically. See guys, right now, whatever code I'm writing, for example, whatever code I write, see, whatever code I write, just put like this, that whatever code I write, it gets executed directly. I can see the code executing and an output. Okay. Now, a function is nothing but a collection of code or a block of code which may have a name which doesn't get called automatically. But that's the definition. What exactly is the meaning? Okay. So let's try to understand that as well. Now see, now guys, we are going away from the definition. Let's understand the basic. Okay. So let's say you're writing some code in JavaScript. Okay. And this is your line number 1 of the code. Okay. Guys, please focus. Then this is your line number 2 of the code. Then this is your line number 3 of the code. And let's say just like this, you have a lot of lines of code. So, line number 4, line number 5, and just like that, you have a lot of lines of code, let's say thousands of lines of code in your page. Okay, something like this. Now guys, just consider that this can be 1,000 lines long as well. Now let's say these are the 3 lines of code. Let's say this is, let's say line code add. I just give it a separate name because they are working together for something. These 3 lines of code are working together for something. That's why I'm giving them a separate name. Okay, everyone. Now let's say these 3 lines of code are doing something. For example, these 3 lines of code are adding 2 numbers. Let's just say, or let's say these 3 lines of code are responsible for getting data from satellite. Okay, think of it like that. Now in my code, I need these 3 lines of code a lot of times. Maybe here, then after that, maybe here as well. Then after that, maybe here as well. So that means those 3 lines of code I require 3 to 4 times in my whole code. So I'm writing it again and again. I'm writing that 3 lines first, then again writing it wherever I need it again, then again writing it wherever I need it again. Okay, that means if I need it 1,000 times, I am going to be writing these 3 lines 1,000 times. Even though they are the exact same code, I am writing it again and again. And guys, think, right now it's only 3 lines of code. In future, it can be 30 lines of code. So what if it is 30 lines of code? That means you have a 30 lines of code and that code is doing something that you need 50 times. So you will be writing the same 30 lines of code in your program 50 times. And that means you are rewriting the same code again and again, which is making your file bigger, making your file look ugly. And that's a very big problem, right? That is why what you can do, to solve this problem, that these 3 lines of code are going to be used again and again. So what you can do is you can go ahead and separately create a block of code like this. For example, you can create a block of code. So you can use a curly braces to represent a block and then put your code here and then give it some name. For example, let's say we call it as fetch data from internet. This is the name of this block. Okay. Okay, guys. And now wherever you need these 3 lines of code, you no longer have to write these 3 lines. Just use this name wherever you need these 3 lines of code. So here I need it, I'll put that name. Here I need it, I'll put that name. Here I need it, I'll put that name. Now guys, wherever you're putting that name, just think that internally, these 3 lines of code are getting executed there only. Here I'm putting it, that means those 3 lines of code are here as well. Here I put it, that means those 3 lines of code are here as well. Now guys, this is for all the people who are starting from basics. Okay, I know that some of you already might be knowing functions, but this is for everyone. So guys, this is what functions do. And this block of code which you create separately and which you give a name, this is what we call as a function. A function is nothing but a block of code doing a specific task, which you can give a name and then you can reuse it n number of times. So guys, when you create it, this is what we call as a function definition. You created those lines of code and you mentioned a name for it. And now wherever you want to use these 3 lines of code, you can use that name to call that code. So this is what we call as function calling. Is that clear to everyone? I hope you understood. So now I can call that same function or I can use that same function 10 times, 1000 times without writing these 3 lines of code again and again. Now just think on a bigger level, how much lines of code it will save. Okay. So guys, I hope you have understood it, everyone. I hope you got the idea of what a function is. Okay. Now then let's see in reality how to create a function in JavaScript. Okay. So let's go, everyone. So guys, let me show you. To create a function in JavaScript, the basic simple way is use a function keyword first. So function, then give it any name, whatever you want. So let's say for now, I call it as do something. Now guys, I can't think of any name, so I'm just calling it do something. Okay. Now guys, see, after your function name, this is very important thing. Rounded brackets. That's what makes a function a function. That's how the program or the executor or that environment knows that it is a function. Okay, so that's why you need those rounded brackets. Okay, so guys, this bracket is very important, rounded brackets, and then this curly braces. This is your block. Now guys, it's up to you. If you want to write your code like this, it's also fine. In different line, that's also fine. And now here you can write your code. Now you'll see guys, if I write some code in this function, you'll see that it will not execute. Normally, if I write something outside, right, it executes. But now see, there's nothing executing. As I said, functions don't execute by default. That means what's happening, if compiler is running this code, it comes to this function. Oh, it knows. Oh, it's a function definition. That means I don't have to execute the code right now. I just have to remember that there's a function like this in my program. Now, I will only execute this code when someone calls the name of that function like this. Guys, that's how you call the name of the function. Just pass the name wherever you want. And now you will see it's working. And the best part, you can call it n number of times. See, 2 times, 10 times, 1000 times. And you can also have any code between them. For example, some code. So now first calling the function, that means this will be executed. So guys, wherever you're calling this function, at the same place, this code is getting executed. Think of it like that only. That's all. Okay. For basics, think of it like that. In advance, we'll talk about more. Okay. Then you have some other code. It can be anything. It can be a function call or some bigger thing. And then again, you're calling the function. And now if you check, see, hello function. First you call the function. So that is the output of the function. And then some other code. And then again, hello function. And you can call that function n number of times, guys. Is that clear to everyone? So guys, to call the function, just use the function name. That's all. But don't forget the rounded brackets. Okay. Is that clear to everyone? Don't forget that. So this is what we call as function definition when you're creating the function. And this is what we call as function calling. Is that clear to everyone? I hope you're understanding. And guys, inside the function, you can have whatever code you want. It's up to you. It's completely up to you. Okay. You can have whatever code you want. Okay. Now guys, in JavaScript, there is one more way of creating function, but I'm not saying that that is the best way. Both the ways are fine. There is one more way that is just a little syntactically better. That's all. It is syntactically better than this. So there's a new way which was introduced in 2015 that you can create a function like this as well. You can avoid this function keyword. Just write the name and then use equal to here and then use a arrow. Arrow means equal to and greater than sign. And that's all. So guys, this is what we call as an arrow function. That's it. Now if you just check it, it's still same output. So this is like a syntactical sugar, guys. That's all. It is just a syntactical sugar. That means looks good. There is not much of a difference. There's only one difference, but we'll talk about that later. But other than that, guys, they are 99.99% same. Is that clear to everyone? So just remove the function keyword, use a equal to between your function name and your bracket, rounded brackets, and then an arrow symbol, and then your curly braces. And guys, you can also write your curly braces here. Okay. That's all. That's the difference between normal function and an arrow function. There's one more thing which I would like to tell. What arrow function says, if your function code is only of single line, no need to mention curly braces. I will understand that it's only of single line. So you can write your function like this. So guys, it's still a function. It doesn't look like, but it's still the function, same output. You can see there's no difference. It's the same output. Okay. So guys, that's all. So what they say is if it is a single line of code, no need to mention curly brackets. That's all, guys. Okay. So this is what, that's why people get confused. If they say something like this, oh, how can it be a function? It's just that, guys. Okay. So either you do this. Okay. So either you do this whole thing or you do this. But again, guys, if there are multiple lines of code, in that case, you have to go with curly braces. So normally that is one thing I follow a lot. Okay. If there are multiple lines of code, if it is single line of code, you can avoid curly braces. Then it will look much more better. So guys, arrow functions are nothing but syntax, a better way of creating functions in JavaScript. Okay. Don't forget that, guys. It's like a syntactical sugar. Don't forget that, everyone. Okay. Now, guys, one more thing. So let me comment this function. And yeah, one more thing which I would like to tell you about function is, now sometimes, guys, see, sometimes, guys, please focus, everyone. Now, guys, one last thing about function that I want to teach you is, see, let me comment all the extra stuff first. Now, guys, please focus, everyone. Please focus. Now, sometimes you also want to pass data inside the function from outside, from where you're calling. Okay, so for that, guys, what you can do, you can go in this rounded brackets, or guys, as I told you in the first day, those rounded brackets are called as parameters. Okay, they are called as parameters. Sorry, not parameters, parentheses. I'm really sorry. Parentheses. Okay. So the use of this parenthesis is actually this. Let me show you. What is the use of this brackets? Like, why do we have this? Okay. So they are mainly used to mention variables. You can mention variables here, like let's say name. Now this variable which you create inside parenthesis, they are called as parameters. And their job is to take data from outside. That means now, wherever you're calling the function, you have to pass some data. See, if I don't pass, it's not like nothing is happening, but in other languages, you will get an error in this. In other languages, you'll get an error. In JavaScript, it's not giving an error. Now, what you have to do is, you have to go here and you can pass something like, let's say, Saurabh. Okay, or any data, guys. It can be a number, it can be a string, whatever you want. Okay. Now, this Saurabh will go in this name. And now, guys, I can use this name variable inside my function like this. So hello function, and you can see now, hello function Saurabh. So guys, I can create variables in those rounded brackets, and those variables are called as parameters, and they are basically used to take data from outside, wherever you're calling the function. Now you can pass data inside the function from wherever you are calling the function. So I can call it again, and if needed, I can pass some other data. For example, let's say I take some name from here. Let's say I take soil. Okay. So now, guys, I'm calling the function again, but now I'm passing soil. So now for the second time, soil will go in name and it will print hello function. Name is soil. So now if you test it, see. So I called the same function twice, but I got two different answers, two different outputs. It's because of this parameter logic. And guys, you can have n number of parameters, up to you. I can also have an age, right? So let's say, and the age is. And guys, remember, these parameter variables even though their data is coming from outside, wherever you're calling the function, they can be only used inside the function. They cannot be used outside the function. They can be only used inside the function. Okay, don't forget that. So when the age is plus age. So now if I go ahead and after Saurabh, I can pass 26. After Sohail, I can pass 23. So now you will see. Here we go. Hello function Saurabh and the age is 26. Hello function Sohail and the age is 23. Okay, don't forget that, guys. Everyone understood how to use parameters, and guys, remember that in whatever sequence you have your parameters, in the same sequence you have to pass your data. If you pass 26 first and Saurabh second, so 26 will go in name and Saurabh will go in age. So you have to maintain that sequence. Okay. So guys, are we cleared with the base? Okay. So guys, let's go everyone. Now, let me clear your difference between let and var. And guys, see, var is now deprecated. So people have started using let. But let me tell you the difference. So guys, see, first, again, just like we start with definition, let's go with definition. Let. So first, what is var? Guys, var means you're creating a variable. It's just a keyword. Var means variable. That means you're creating a variable. And let is also a keyword. So guys, both of these in JavaScript are used to create variables. But the difference is, var is function scoped and let is block scoped. This is the main difference between var and let, guys. That's all. Var is function scoped and let is block scoped. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? Let me show you. Okay. See, guys, for testing, let me create a dummy function. Guys, please focus, everyone. Let me create a dummy function. For example, let's say function, let's call it as dummy only. Okay, can't think of a name right now, so let's call it dummy. Now see, everyone please focus. Now this is the function block. Guys, this is also a block, but this is the function block. Okay, const is also block scoped. Let and const both are block scoped, but const is considered normally. That's why people ask difference between var and let only. That's why let's go with var and let. Now see, guys, this is a block only, but this is a function block. That's why this is called as function scope. Now guys, starting from here till here, this is the scope of the function. Okay. Now let's say I create a if block here, and let's say by default the condition becomes true. That means it will always execute. Okay. Now let's say inside this if I create a variable using var. Okay. So var a equals 1. Now see, guys, this variable is created inside this block. So in other programming languages, guys, all the variables that you create are by default block scoped. That means in whatever block you create the variable, it will be only accessible in that block. So I'm considering that okay, fine, I have created this variable using var inside this block. So this variable should not be accessible outside the block. But if I try using a outside the block, you will see. Oh, I have to call the function, right? I forgot. It's a function. Guys, you need to call it. Everyone, you need to call it. So let's call it on top. We know, right? Because of hoisting, it will work. So no issues. And here we go. See, you're getting 1. That means you created one variable inside the block, but if you're accessing it outside, it is still working. It's because var is function scope. That means inside a function, no matter at which level, inside which block you create your variable, variables created using var will be always accessible in the whole function. Even if you go block inside block inside block. See, guys, even if I go block inside block like this, even if I have third, fourth layer of blocks, and even if I create it there, you will still see it's there available. So function block, then one more block, then one more block, then one more block, then one more block, and then I created it. It is still accessible outside. So guys, whatever you create using var, it's always function scope. That means it will be available in the whole function. Okay. But if I create, okay, let me remove all these extra blocks. And if I create a variable using let, now you'll see I'll get an error. A is not defined. Why? Because now it is created using let, so it will be only accessible in this block. If I try to access this A outside, it won't be accessible. If I want to use this in the whole function, then I should focus that it should be created in the function block. Because now it will be accessible in the whole function. Because now it's created in the function block. That means, guys, let is block scoped. In whatever block you created, it can be function block, it can be if block, it can be loop block. But wherever you create it, it is only accessible in that block. But for var, no matter in which block you create it, it will always be accessible in the whole function. So guys, that's the difference between let and var. But in all the other languages, variables are by default block scoped. And in JavaScript, var was a problem. That's why in 2015, they introduced let, much more better way of creating and handling variables. Is that clear, everyone? Okay. I really hope that you have understood the difference. That's why I was waiting for function, guys. Because I don't want to show you some base examples like, how it works in loop. I want to show you the exact idea. That is why I waited till function to explain you this concept. Okay. So guys, I hope you have understood, and from now start using let. Don't use var. Just use let everywhere. It will be fine. Okay. 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 Now then guys, let's move ahead. Okay, now then guys, let's move ahead and let's talk about something called as event handling. And guys, now we are starting with the real thing. We are starting with the DOM manipulation concept. Okay. So guys, let's move ahead and let's start. So guys, now we are talking about event handling. Now guys, to understand what event handling is in JavaScript or in any other language or in any other development environment, we need to first understand what exactly is the meaning of event. Okay. So guys, let's say I go on to some site like, flipkart.com, something like that. I always go to this site. I don't know why, but again, let's go to flipkart.com or any site, guys. Now remember guys, an event on an app, or a website is nothing but an interaction that is performed on the web page, either by the user or by the website itself. But right now, guys, let's not make it complicated. Let's make it easy. So let's say any interaction that user performs on the application, that is what you call as an event. For example, when I hover, I'm performing an event. When I hover, again, it's an event. When I click, it's an event. When I click, it's an event. When I scroll, it's also an event. So guys, your click, double click, triple click, scroll, hover, all these interactions that you perform on the web page, they are considered as events, guys. That is what you call as event. Okay, everyone, everything, click, scroll, even on your mobile apps, guys, when you touch something, when you long touch, long press, when you scroll, every interaction that you perform, it's what you call as an event. Okay, but what we are learning is event handling. That means, okay, user will perform event, but when the user performs the event, what are we going to do? For example, see, when I click here, it moves. When I click, it moves. When I hover, something appeared. That means when the user performed the event, something happened. Now, if I am also creating website, I want the users to perform event on my site. I want them to click. I want them to touch. I want them to double click. But based on their click and double click, what am I going to do? Because I need to write code for that. If I also want to create a slider like this in my web page, I also want the user to perform click. But based on that click, I also want to write code which will move my image. So guys, user will perform event. But based on that event, how to perform something internally in the code so that something happens on the website. And guys, that concept can be achieved using event handling. So now we're going to be learning how to handle events performed by user and do something based on that. So whenever someone clicks or double clicks, how to do something based on that. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, so let's go everyone. So let's say, guys, just to give a basic idea, let's say in the HTML page, I create a simple button. Okay, let me now remove all this and keep it somewhere else because I don't want, this whole stuff to be here. So I'll just create a new file. And I'll just put it here for some time so that the code is not lost. It will be here. Okay. Now guys, in my HTML area, I want to create a button like this button. Okay. And let's just right click on it. Something like this. So now you'll see you have a button here. See guys, you have a very good looking simple button. Now what I want is, guys, very simple. See, right now we are not doing this big thing like when I click, it should move, or when I hover, a box should appear. I'll do that. Don't worry. I'll show you how to do all that stuff. But right now, let's do a simple thing. I want the user to click on this button. And as soon as he clicks on this button, I want to print something on the console. That means I want, based on users' interaction to my web page, I want to do something. In future, right now I'm printing something on the console, but in future it can be anything. In future it can be a scroll of the web page. When he clicks, I will scroll the web page. When he clicks, I'll move my website. When he clicks, I'll let him go somewhere else. I can do that. But first I need to understand how to do the basic stuff. So when he clicks on this button, that means he'll perform an event. And based on that, I want to, guys, what? I want to print something on the console. Okay. So let's see how to do that. So first of all, guys, see, printing on the console is a task. It's a code. So for that, guys, what we're going to be doing is we will create a function, and let's call it as print, something like that. Just let's say print something like this. And guys, whatever task you want to perform when the user clicks on the button, write down the code here. Now guys, right now it is only printing on console, but in future it can be any kind of code. It can be movement code, scrolling code, animation code, anything. But for now, it's simply printing of, on the console. So let's say you clicked. Now see guys, this is a function. That means this function won't be called automatically. You can see there's no output. But if I call it here, just below here, like this, I know that that function will be automatically executed and I'll see the output. Okay, and let me just mention clicked, I forgot. Okay, so now guys, you can see it's directly you're getting the output. That means without even clicking on the button, you got the output. But I don't want this. I don't want this function called directly. I want this task to only happen if someone clicks on this button. So guys, now what you need to do is you have to go ahead on that button and you have to add an event listener. And how to do that? First, guys, see. Now, there are three main components in an event to understand, guys. First is the event itself. Okay. First is the event itself. Event is nothing but whatever interaction the user performs. Second is what you call as event handler. And third is what you call as event listener. Guys, these are the three main things which are in the event. The event itself. In our case, guys, event is nothing but whatever the user performs. So click. Let's say click event. User performs a click. So event is click. Event handler, guys, is nothing but the component on which you're performing the event and how it is handling that. So in this case, guys, our event handler is click. This button. This button is our event handler. And event listener is the task that is performed when the event is performed. So guys, this is the task that is going to be performed. So this function becomes my event listener. So right now, guys, I have the event handler with me, which is the button on which the event will be performed. I have the event listener, the task. And I also know what kind of event is going to be performed. But now, how to connect all this together? So for that, guys, in the button, there is an attribute called as onClick. This onClick is nothing but your event handler. Okay, event handler property. And inside this double brackets, double quotes, you can simply go ahead and pass on that function call. That's it. That means what I'm saying is, on this button, whenever someone clicks, so the guys, the name of the attribute is onClick. Whenever someone clicks, call this function. So now, guys, whenever someone performs a click event on this button, it knows that I need to call this function. So guys, this button is our event handler. What the click that I'm going to be performing is my event. Okay. And this function is my event listener because it is sitting. And as soon as you perform the event, I'll be called. I'll execute. That's why I'm called as event listener. This function is event listener because it is listening. As soon as you perform the event, this code will be executed. So it becomes event listener. And now, guys, you will see this, everyone. If I click, see, click, 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 and it is working. And guys, in future, this code can be anything. It can be moving code, animation code, whatever you want. And guys, not only on click, there are a lot of things. For example, on mouse enter. So guys, on mouse enter works as soon as you enter your mouse, not even click. So see now, if I just enter my mouse, see guys, everyone please focus. If I just enter my mouse, see, I'm not even clicking, just enter and it worked. See that? Just like that, you also have on mouse leave. So now when you leave your mouse, then this function will be called. On this button, see, guys, on this button, when you leave your mouse, so now see everyone. Arey yaar. See, now, right now, I'll go on that mark. See, nothing happened. When I go on that, nothing happened. But when I leave it, God. So guys, up to me. I can also put double click. So any event that I want to perform, guys, we have to practice that. Okay. Now, guys, one really important thing that I want to tell you, it's like a kind of an extra thing that I want to give you. If you're using a function as an event listener, guys, see, now this function is not a normal function. Understand that, guys. Now this function is not a normal function. Now this function is an event listener. So when a function becomes event listener, that means when it is attached or called like this, then it becomes an event listener. And when a function becomes event listener, inside that function, guys, you by default have an object which is available, which you call as an event. That object is available by default. Guys, it will not be available in a normal function. It is only available in a function which is behaving as event listener. What does that object do? Let me show you. Let me print it and you'll see what it does. If I click now, see, and guys, did I do something on the button? Oh, I forgot that N. Now I only have butter. So that's the problem. Yeah. Now see, guys, everyone, when I hover and when I leave, because it's on mouse leave event. So when I leave, see, it's called, and see, now it's giving. So guys, that event object is nothing but it gives you all the information regarding the event that is performed. So here we go. See, it is telling me it's a mouse event, and see all the information about that. All the information. On which element it was called? On the button element. What was the XY axis of that button? 51 by 31. Everything, guys, everything. What kind of event it is? Mouse leave event. What was the date and time when it was done? Timestamp. So guys, everything is available regarding that event. So if you want to use it, anything, you can use it. You can use this event object to extract whatever you want of that event. Okay. So guys, normally it is not always important to use the event object, but I just want to tell you that this event object is available, but only in a function which is behaving like a event listener. If it was a normal function like this, function do something. Let's say, guys, this is the normal function. Read. I'm not calling this function with any event. So this is a normal function. And if I try to use the event object in this, you'll see what happens. If I try to call this function normally, because it's a normal function, see what will happen here. It will give me undefined. Because now it's saying I don't even know what this event object is. Event object is only known by the functions which are event listeners, which are attached to an event. Is that clear, everyone? Event object is not available in a normal function. Is that clear, guys? Even if I, remove this function from event listener, like this, if I remove it, then event object is also not available for this. So don't forget that as well. Okay, guys? Okay. So guys, I hope it's clear, everyone. Guys, yeah, literally we use event every day. In our phone, we are scrolling, tapping, liking, commenting, doing all that, click, double click, triple click, swipe, scroll, all that is nothing but an event. And based on that event, something is happening. That means someone, somewhere, has written all these functions, and whenever you click, scroll, all that stuff, some function is getting called, and that's how swipe is happening, data is changing, your like is happening, your comment is happening, all that is happening. Okay, everyone. So guys, I hope the concept of event handling is cleared, and don't worry, throughout whatever we are doing, I'll teach you different events. Okay, don't worry. Now guys, first of all, what exactly is DOM manipulation? Okay, everyone, what exactly is DOM manipulation? So I hope you remember, guys, on the first day, I explained you what is DOM, right? Everyone, remember that? On the first day, let's say I create a file here. Let's say I create a file called as dummy.html. Okay. Remember that, guys? If you have HTML code, turn it. So now, guys, first of all, I think I explained what is DOM on the first day. But again, let me go ahead and give you a little more idea of what exactly is DOM. Okay. So guys, let's focus. Now, guys, please, for the next 20 minutes, I need your complete focus. Okay. So let's say I have a very simple HTML page, and inside this, let's say I have a div. Inside that div, I have a P, right? P tag, right? Something like this. And outside that div, let's say I have an image element. Okay. Now, guys, let's say we have a page like this. Now, I told you, right, that whenever you execute, whenever you run your page like this on the browser, you see some output, right guys? For example, if I run this page, let me also write some CSS, guys. Let me also write some CSS very quickly. Okay, so for that div, I'm writing some CSS. I'm going to give it height of 300 pixel, and I'm going to give it a width of 300 pixel, and I'm going to give it a background color of red. So for that div, and for the P, I'm also going to give some CSS. So P, let's say background color yellow. Okay, so guys, I have a CSS for div, and I also have applied CSS for P. And now guys, let's run this page, everyone. Let's run this page. So if I just, copy the path, or let's stop the live server for a second and run this file. So go live. Okay, here we are, guys. It's running. You can see now we have that div, and we also have that P tag. You can see, right, everyone? Hopefully you can see that you have that div, this whole thing, and you have this P inside that, the yellow thing. So the yellow one is P and the whole red one is your div. Now guys, you need to understand that whenever you execute your HTML code on the browser, you can see some output. That means whatever your HTML code is producing, you write code here, but on the web page, you see the output. But what is actually happening inside? So guys, internally, your HTML code is converted into a tree. Internally, your HTML code is converted into a tree structure. And then the browser reads that tree and gives you this output. Now, I already explained this on the first day, but I'm just giving it just a little bit of idea for all the new people. So guys, this is what happens. Internally, your web page is converted into a tree in the browser, and then browser reads that tree and generates the output like this. Now, that tree is what you call as DOM. That tree is what we call as DOM. Let me give an example. So let's say, I again need that paint tool online. I hope I'll get a good paint tool. Okay. So let's say this is your HTML tag. And from where I can increase the font size. Is that possible? Okay, no issues, guys. HTML, then inside HTML, you have your body. And you also have your head. Then inside head, you have title. And inside body, you have that div. And inside that div, you have your P. So let me zoom this page quickly. Okay. So something like this. So if I take a pen here, your tree looks something like this. Right? Head inside the, here you have title, inside div you have P. Okay. So this is how your tree looks like. Okay, everyone. I know it's not a very good looking tree, but I hope you understand. Okay, everyone. So now please focus that your code, which looks like this, okay, it is converted into a tree like this. I'm not saying that it is exactly same tree, but internally it gets converted to tree. And this tree is read by the browser and you get your output. And guys, this tree is what you call as, DOM, document object model, where each element is considered as object. See guys, while coding, you call it a tag. When you get the output, when you see the output, we call it an element. So in coding, when we create a tag, we call it as a tag. On the browser, when we see the output of the tag, we say it's an element. And inside the tree, that same tag is considered as an object. And guys, this is what we call as document object model. And JavaScript has the ability to manipulate these objects. And guys, when JavaScript manipulates these objects, your output changes on the spot, on the go. That means you're not going to go inside code and make some changes in your HTML. JavaScript has the ability to manipulate those HTML elements. And actually, guys, it's not manipulating your HTML elements on the code. It is actually manipulating this tree. That means, guys, see, focus that you have your code. Okay. Your code is converted to tree. Okay, everyone. Your code is, I know it's a very bad paint tool, but that's fine. Your code is converted to tree. And then your tree is converted to the output that you see. Okay, the output. Is that clear, everyone? So JavaScript as a language has the ability to directly manipulate this tree. And once this tree manipulates, now guys, when I say manipulate, that means JavaScript can easily remove any element from the tree. JavaScript can add a new element in the tree. JavaScript can change the CSS of an element. JavaScript can change the attribute of an element. JavaScript can change the content of an element. That means JavaScript can do anything on that tree, literally anything. And when JavaScript manipulates that tree, the output also gets updated. That means we are not doing anything to the code. HTML code is as it is. So the only job of HTML code was to initially generate the tree. After that, JavaScript can dynamically manipulate that tree. And because the tree is getting manipulated, the output gets changed. But nothing is happening to the code. So never expect that something will happen to the code. Is that clear, everyone? I hope you understood the whole idea here. So guys, that's why JavaScript is considered as a DOM manipulation language. And initially, JavaScript was created for this only. Now it is much more than that. I think I also explained this on the first day, right? So that's why JavaScript is created, guys. And now we're going to be learning how to use JavaScript to manipulate this tree. And that's what we call as DOM manipulation, guys. And remember, guys, everyone please focus that we can't see this tree. We can but see the code. So according to our logic, we will see the code whenever we want to do manipulation. But internally, it will be happening to the tree. But we can't see the tree. So for our reference for the tree, we have to always see the code. Because by looking at the code, we will understand how the tree will be formed. So JavaScript will actually manipulate the tree, but we will always take reference of the HTML code to understand the tree because we can't see the tree. Now guys, one thing I want to show you, that this whole tree that gets created internally inside, guys, in JavaScript, inside the browser, this whole tree is actually stored inside an object. And that object is what you call as document. Guys, that means your whole tree is stored in an object, in a JavaScript object called document. Is that clear, everyone? That's why it is called as document object model. The whole tree, your whole HTML tree is stored inside an object called as document. Let me show you. Let me show you that. See, let's go in this page. Let's go on console. And guys, as I said, it's a JS object. So if it is a JS object, I can use that object, right? It's an inbuilt object. That means I don't have to worry. I can go and print that object. So console.log. And now see, guys, if I print this document object, see what it gives me back. It gives me back the whole tree. See that, everyone? This is nothing but your whole tree. See the whole HTML code. That means the whole tree is stored inside the object called as document. Is that clear, everyone? You can see I printed the document object and it's giving me back the whole tree. And I can see, you can see, right? The whole HTML tree is here. This p tag, this div tag, this body tag, everything that you have here. So guys, I really hope that it's understood here. Okay. And guys, it's not giving you tree the way I created it. So I just told you, right? It's just an example. Your tree will not actually look like this. Okay, guys. So don't forget that. Don't forget. Your whole tree is stored inside the document object. That means now, if you want to manipulate that tree, the most important object that you need is this object. Because this object is what gives access to you for the tree. And you can use this object to reach to any element in that tree and then manipulate it. Change its CSS, change its color, change whatever you want. And now we have to learn that. How to use this object, document object, to reach to a particular element to what I want to manipulate. Is that clear, everyone? I hope you guys got the idea. Please confirm that, everyone. Quickly. Guys, got the idea of what DOM manipulation is going to be, everyone? And guys, please trust me, nothing is going to happen on your code. See guys, even though this whole thing looks like your code, but this is the browser tree. It can't show you the tree. That's why it is showing you like a code. But trust me guys, this code and the code that you see here, they are different. This is the code that you wrote. This is the code formed by understanding the tree. Okay, so JavaScript is going to manipulate this tree. It looks like your code, but it's a tree. Okay, it's never going to manipulate this code. Nothing will change here, guys, but everything will be changed to tree. So please don't forget this concept. JS will manipulate the tree, not the code. Okay, you can't see the code getting changed. You will only see the tree getting changed and your output getting changed. That's all. Okay, so now guys, let's go ahead. In HTML and Astro are similar. In HTML, yeah, HTML is the first part of this, right? Okay, so now guys, let's move ahead and let's see how to use the document object to start manipulating your tree. And let's do some basic things today. Then tomorrow we can go in advanced level. Okay. So now guys, see. Now, let's say I have an element, like for example, let's say I have an element called as, let's say div, something like that. Okay. So div, and let's say I give it an ID. Now guys, see, now whenever, first rule, now guys, if you understand this rule, you will never be confused in DOM manipulation. The first and the most important mantra of manipulating any element is first target that element. First, select that element. That is the first rule, guys. No matter which element you want to change, no matter which element you want to work with, the first thing should be target that element that you want to work with. So let's say I have this div, okay? And let's say I also have some content in this, like hello everyone, okay? Now, let's go and, give it a class and apply some CSS to it. So class of, let's say we call it class of 1, okay? And then I give it, let's say 1 and apply some CSS. So guys, I'm assuming that you know a little bit of HTML and CSS. That's why I'm freely writing HTML and CSS. Okay. So height of 200 pixels, width of 200 pixels, and let's say background color. One of my favorites, yellow green. It's not like favorite, but I like it. It's the W3 School's color, right? So I like this color. Okay. You can see here. Here we go. Okay. Now let me just make it a little short. Okay, cool. So guys, here we go. The second div that you have. Now let's say I want to perform some manipulation on this element. Guys, I want to perform some manipulation on this element. So guys, what is the first rule? First, understand which element do you want to manipulate using JavaScript. I know I want to manipulate this green element. Okay. So the first rule is, guys, target that green element. Select that green element. Okay. So that green element is this div. So how to select it? Now guys, to select an element using JavaScript, to perform DOM manipulation, there are multiple ways. You can select it via its tag name. You can select it via its ID. You can select it via its class name. I am going to select the element via its ID. So to select the element via its ID, guys, you need to give that element an ID. So let's give this element an ID of 1. Okay. Okay, guys, I give this element ID of 1. That means now I can select this element using its ID of 1. Now, guys, don't forget. Document is the object which gives you the whole tree. So guys, inside the document object, we know that we have the whole tree, right everyone? Even this div with class of 1. Now from that document object, I need to target this div because I want to work with it. So how to target it, guys? It has a lot of functions. Document object has a bunch of functions. Now I want to use a function which will select this element for me because I want to work with it. And I want to select that element using its ID. So there's a function called as get element by ID. And inside that, you pass the ID of the element that you want to select. So 1. And that's all, guys. Now you'll see, if I write this much line, document.get element by ID 1, it will select this element for me. Target this element for me. Let me show you. See, guys, can you see that? That element got selected. I can get that whole element. I'm getting that whole element now. And now I can do whatever I want, guys. I can change its content. I can change its CSS. I can change its attribute. I can change whatever I want. Up to me, guys. It's completely up to me. Is that clear, everyone? Are you understanding, guys? Please tell me. So this is what document.getElement by ID is. That means I'm trying to fetch an element from the tree using its ID. I'm trying to target an element using its ID inside the whole tree. Okay, so now, guys, once you get the element, after that, you can do whatever you want. Now I've got the element. Is that clear, everyone? Guys? Okay. So, guys, document is the whole page. Think of document as your whole page, your whole code. Document is your whole tree, DOM. From that DOM tree, get me the element which is having ID of 1. So it will get me this element because this is the element which is having ID of 1. Is that cleared, everyone? And let me show how to change the content. Now, guys, it's very easy to change the content, like literally very easy. To put some content or to change the content, it's very easy. See, guys, let me show you. So now let me remove the console.log because I don't need it anymore. I don't want to print it. I got the element, guys. Once you get the element, now, guys, remember, once you get the element, then you can simply use a property called as inner HTML. This property will help you to put content inside that element. So my element is div. So this property inner HTML will help me to put some HTML inside that div. Right now, I already have some content, which is hello everyone inside my element, but this will help me to put some more content, or it will override that content. So let me show you. Let me show you guys. See, inner HTML, and now I say equal to something new. Now see guys, everyone please focus. Initially, when I created the element, inside that the content was hello everyone. But when this line will get executed, this line will select that element, and inside its inner area, I am putting something new. So now see what will happen. See, we can only see something new. But right now, guys, you know why it's happening? Like, why can't I see the old one? Because right now, this JavaScript code is executing as soon as my page loads. And that's why I can't see this hello everyone. So let's do one thing. Let's create a button. So instead of directly letting this code perform, what we can do is we can create a button and we can put this code in a function. Function, let's call it as do something. Now, if I put it in a function, that means what, guys? This code will be not called automatically. Correct, everyone? That means now this code will be not called automatically, right? See, now this code will be not called automatically. See, now I can still see hello everyone. That means now my div is only having hello everyone. But as soon as this function will be called, that element will be selected, which means this div, and its inner content, inner HTML will be changed to something new. Now let's call this function on this button. So on click, do something. And now see guys, everyone. Right now, hello everyone. As soon as I click on this button, see, it changed to something new. Is that clear, guys? Everyone, I hope you understood. Guys, so it overrides the old content and puts the new content. That's how it works. Is that clear, guys? Everyone? Hopefully you've understood it. Okay, so inner text will just think of everything as a string. And guys, I hope you have understood that I told you that the first target is select the element. After that, you can do whatever you want. Okay, I can do inner text, I can do inner HTML, or I can also change the CSS. So let's comment this out. And guys, now let's try to change the CSS. For the last thing for today, let's try to change the CSS. Again, guys, remember the rule. Whatever you want to do. Now let's say I want to change the CSS of this element. So let's say the height of the element is 200 pixel. In CSS, the height of the element is 200 pixel. I want to change it to 400 pixel, but by using JavaScript, by performing DOM manipulation. Again, whatever you want to do, guys, the first thing is select the element. So first select document dot get element by ID 1. I got the element. Now what do you want to do? Do you want to change this text? Use inner text, but no, I don't want to do that. Do you want to put some HTML content in it? Use inner HTML, but no, I don't want to do that. Do you want to change CSS? Yes. So dot style, then dot any CSS property that you want to change, guys, any property. So I want to work with height. So height equals, initially when I created it, it is having 200 pixel. But now when I click on this button and when this function will be called, that element will be selected and its height, I want to change it to 400 pixel, not 4000, 400 pixel. And now you'll see, guys, see what happens now. Let me first zoom it out so that you can see things. Now see everyone, if I click on this button, the height changed. See that? Everyone, the height got changed now. That's how it works. And guys, you can change anything, background color, whatever you want, literally up to you. Let's say I also want to change background color, not only height. So write it again, select the element again. 1. Now guys, which property I want to change? Background color, but again, main thing is style, then dot any property. So I want to change background color. So I can write background color. But guys, see, in CSS, you write background hyphen color. Now you need to write the same property, but in JavaScript, this hyphen, since JS is a programming language, hyphen will be considered as minus. In JavaScript, if you put hyphen, it will be considered as minus. See, if I try putting background hyphen color, it will be considered as minus because JS is programming language. That's why the properties which have hyphens, they are converted to camel case. That means start with lowercase, but every other word will start with capital, like this, background color. So no hyphen, just background color equals to whatever you want. Now let's say I want to make it blue. So now guys, when the button is clicked, the element's height will change to 400 pixel and the element's color will change to blue. See that guys, if I now go ahead and click on the button, see, height is changed and color is changed to blue. And guys, up to you, whatever CSS you want to change, you can change it guys. Completely up to you. And if I just go in CSS and let's say to that element, I give a transition, like transition duration of let's say 1 second. So now guys, whatever changes are happening in height, width, color, they will take 1 second to happen. Now see what happens here. Now see everyone, if I click on this button, whatever changes are happening, it will take 1 second. See, it looks like animation now, right? Let me comment out the first one guys so that you can see everything properly. Let me comment out this first div. It's just sitting there wasting my space. So let's remove that. And now see guys, if I click, see everyone. So now guys, now the boundary that you have is your imagination. Whatever you can think, you can make. Whatever you think, guys, move, give margin. Let me show you that as well, how to move things. See guys, I can go ahead. Let me comment out this one. Let's say I want to move that element. So for that, select that element first. Now for movement guys, we normally use margin. So I'm going to be using margin here. So let's go style, but I'm going to be using margin left, but you know, right? Margin left is hyphen property, but if it is hyphen, that means we can't write it like this. So I have to write margin capital L left equals, let's say 300 pixel. Now see what will happen guys. This margin left will do this. See, movement. That is how this logic is done. Somewhere this logic is created by that only. This whole logic. Clicking and moving the image. Is that cleared everyone? Understood the whole idea guys? This is the power of DOM manipulation everyone. This is the power, and if you learn it properly, it is very powerful. And guys, trust me, I have seen a lot of people who don't know a lot of things about DOM manipulation. They know the basics. So if you want to become an expert, you have to, do you want me to spin the div? I can do that. Definitely I can do that. Okay. So guys, the main thing is practice. Okay, let me show you how to spin it. Let's end this whole session on a funny note. So let me spin the div. Okay, do you want me to spin it like this or this? You tell me. I'll spin it for you. I will spin it. Let me spin that div for you. Let me spin it. So guys, for spinning, there's a property called as transform by which I can rotate it. So transform, and let me rotate it. So rotate. Let me rotate it on Z axis. Z axis, let's say 2800 to 28,000 degrees. Rotate it in that. Now see guys, see what will happen now. And let me increase the time so that you can see this, that it's actually spinning, because 1 second will be too fast. Let me put 3 seconds. Here we go now. Let's go. Let's see guys. Click. See how it's spinning. Okay. Is that clear everyone? So I rotated on Z axis for 28,000 degrees. So 360, 360, 360 until it reaches 28,000 degrees. Okay. Is that cleared everyone? So guys, yep, that's it for today. I really hope that you understood everything that we have learned here. So today we covered a lot of things, right? We covered functions, we covered event handling, then we covered array of objects, and then we covered how to do basic DOM manipulation. So we covered a lot of things today, right? So I really hope that you understood everything, and I really hope that you enjoyed the whole course. Okay. So yep guys, that's all. Now I really hope that you guys will be there tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll be using all the things that we have learned to create our whole project. So I really hope that you will be there. Okay. So thank you so much guys, and please don't forget to like the session if you've enjoyed. So yep guys, thank you so much everyone. That's all for today. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, and that's all guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye guys. I'll see you tomorrow exactly at 6:30. Bye-bye guys. Good night. See you tomorrow. Have a great night. Enjoy your evening guys. Bye-bye. Good night everyone. Good night.